Hello friends and neighbors, let's talk about Disney's Alice in Wonderland. The other one.
Remember,
you're a wizard.
On second thought, let's not
You're to dig one hole.
Still princesses.
Contract as you wish.
Show her the Frabjous Day.
Yeah, Frabjous being the day you slay the Jabberwocky.
Sorry? Slay the what?
Oh, yeah. That being you there with the Vorpal sword. No other swords can kill the Jabberwocky. No how. If it ain't Vorpal, it ain't dead.
That's not me.
I know.
Resolve this for us, Absalom. Is she the right Alice?
Not hardly.
Alright, first of all, I'm going to apologize for all of the Alice in Wonderland stuff. I've done a review of the show I'm working on, I've done a review of the 1951 Disney movie, I'm about to do a review of the 2009 Disney movie, and I'm going to do a books versus movies review, so there's going to be a lot of Alice in Wonderland stuff coming, and I'm sorry, but I'm working on the show and it's kind of on my mind right now. So anyway, Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland. Reviews of this movie have been pretty mixed. Some people really like it, some people really don't, some people think it looks great but it's really stupid. And I finally got to see it for myself and I wasn't really sure what to expect. I mean, I knew that it wasn't a strict retelling of the Alice in Wonderland story. I knew it was more like a sequel to Alice in Wonderland. Basically, you got Alice about a decade after the events of Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass, and it turns out that Wonderland wasn't just a dream, it was a real place, and there's a battle brewing with the Red Queen, and Alice has to go back and defeat the Jabberwocky in order to defeat the Red Queen. That's the gist anyway. The whole thing has kind of a feel of this epic war story, this action thriller. I mean, there's a definite solid plot in a story that originally was pretty plotless. But for myself, I am on the side of the people that actually liked the movie. I actually was really entertained by it. I enjoyed watching it. I think one of my favorite kinds of adaptations of stories are the ones that take a look at the what if for stories. Like, what if we could look at what happened after the end of the original story and things didn't maybe go so well and we're in this post-apocalyptic future now. And that's kind of what you see in Wonderland. Wonderland, of course, is a lot darker. I mean, it is Tim Burton. There's a war brewing, there's this evil creature out to get everybody. It's a pretty frightening place. And I like that this Alice in Wonderland really explores the different directions that the story could go. And yet for all that, it still carries Lewis Carroll's message of imagination and the importance of creativity and thinking outside of the box. And I like the character of Alice. She is actually a pretty strong protagonist in this story. That's not to say that the movie doesn't have its problems. I mean, I like Johnny Depp as the Mad Hatter, but the costume design, it just didn't work for me. In general, I wasn't crazy about the imagery. A lot of people thought that it looked great, but the story was stupid. I actually liked the story and wasn't crazy about the imagery. It was just too cartoony for my taste. It was a little too computer animated. I would have preferred it to be a little bit more grounded in reality. I mean, okay, yeah, it's Wonderland, but it really didn't feel like a location, even a whimsical one. I never got the sense that anything there was real. It's the same problem I had with the imagery in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Even though I know a lot of it wasn't computer animated, it felt like it was computer animated and it just felt fake. But overall, I really liked the movie. I liked the direction they took Wonderland, and honestly, I think it's good that this story deviated from the original. Lewis Carroll's whole thing with writing Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass was that people should use their imaginations more. That they should look beyond the stuff that's put right in front of them and think for themselves and imagine different things. And that's what Alice did with Wonderland and The Land Through the Looking Glass. And that's exactly what the writers of this adaptation of Alice in Wonderland did. They didn't just take the original story, they took the concepts that Lewis Carroll had set down and they went their own direction with them. They used their imaginations. And so I don't think that Lewis Carroll would think this was an insult to his story. I think he would think, well, good for you using your imaginations. But that's just my opinion. I enjoyed watching the movie, I found it entertaining. It has its problems, of course, but it's a fun movie. It's a good way to spend an hour and a half or 2 hours. On the worth meter, I would give it a solid worth renting. And that's it for me. Uber Ren, you got a pearl of wisdom for us?
This is Uber Ren reminding you not to drink milk on a hot day, because it'll give you a stomachache. Unless you're not going to be outside, in which case it won't matter.